Okay, let's finish up the trig identities and looking at this one right here. This kind of goes back on where I mentioned you could rewrite the square on the outside, and that's important because remember that cotangent is an odd function, so we bring the negative outside. And then when you square this, it's going to become positive. And do you remember an identity that looks just like that? Yeah? So you're done. That one's done. All right, next, a searchlight cast a spot of light on a wall located 65 meters from the searchlight. The acceleration r is given as 10. And we're going to show that it's equivalent to 10. So when I look at this, the first thing I notice on the left is cotangents and on the right tangents. Do you remember the identity that the cotangent is the same as 1 over tangent? Did you? I knew you would. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change all of these to 1 over tangent. So cotangent, that becomes that. This becomes 2 over tangent squared plus 1. All right, now from here, I see some fraction looking stuff in the parentheses. So I think what would be best to do is turn this into one fraction, meaning that my least common denominator is tangent squared. So that becomes my least common denominator, which you can kind of already see we have the denominator. We got that going on. So this top already has the denominator, but the other one needs a tangent squared. Okay, so basically all I did really was turn that into tangent over tangent squared. All right, now this is a weird problem, and one of these that how in the world would anybody have come up with this, but somebody did. So basically they tell you to split 1 into 1 plus 1. Makes sense, right? Well, but wait, it is going to make sense. So if I go, try and get my color going back here. So I have my 1300 over tangent theta. I turn the 2 into 1 plus 1, and then I still have the plus tangent squared theta. And you can kind of see the reasoning because I'm trying to get secant squared. Do you remember the identity secant squared theta equals tangent squared theta plus 1? Yes, you did. That's the correct answer. So that piece becomes secant squared. So I have my 1300 tangent theta on the outside. On the inside, I have 1 plus secant squared theta. On the bottom, I have tangent squared theta. And I think you'll see the very last step, distributing the bottom out at least, gives you your final answer. So again, that one was kind of weird. However, not really that weird if your eyeball was looking at that secant and going, yeah, but there's a 1. So it was kind of interesting. The guidelines always start with the side containing the more complicated expression, like you saw me do here. Okay, and I'm trying to get the other side. Rewrite sums or differences as a single quotient. Certainly remembering fractions, if possible, rewrite one side in terms of sines and cosines only. And always keep your goal in mind while you're working through these. Always kind of watch the right side. Otherwise, you're just woohoo, off on your merrily way and not really sure what you're doing and why you're doing it, right? We don't need that. So just be careful when you're working these, and once again, practice. That ends this section. Hooray!